I'd like to add some mixed numbers. Example, 3 and 1/2 plus 2 and 1/3. When I add mixed numbers, I like to write them in columns. You don't have to write them this way, but I think it's far easier to write them in columns where you have the whole numbers here in one column and then the fractions in another column. As I look at these two fractions, I realize I need to have a common denominator. And in this case, the common denominators, do you know what they'll be? 6. I hope you knew that. And 1/2, of course, is going to be how many sixths? 3. And 1/3 will be 2/6. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. So now we can add the fractions because they have common denominators. 3 and 2 gives us 5/6, and 3 and 2 gives us 5. Our final answer is 5 and 5/6. Let's take another example. 4 and 3/8 plus 3 and let's make this 2/5. See if it'll make it a little harder for us. Okay, common denominator, 40. That's the smallest number that both 8 and 5 will go into. It just so happens that 40 is also 8 times 5. 8 times 5 gives us 40, and so 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 8 gives us 40. 2 times 8 is 16. Now we can add them together. 15 plus 16 is 31. 31/40ths, and 3 plus 4 is 7. I didn't write that very neatly. That needs to be 40ths. 7 and 31/40ths. One more example. You can see this is not really very difficult at all. 5 and 1/3 plus 5 and 1/2. The common denominator is 6. 1/3 is 2/6. 1/2 is 3/6. 2 plus 3, 5/6. 5 plus 5 is 10. Can this be simplified? No, it isn't. No, I mean, it's already in its simplest form. It cannot be simplified. And so there is our final answer. Let's take one more example. See what can happen in some situations. Let's do 2 and 1/4 plus 3 and 1/2. Again, the two fractions do not have a common denominator, therefore we have to pick a common denominator. We could pick 8, but the lowest common denominator is actually 4. That right there is the lowest common denominator because 2 will go into 4. So 1/4 really doesn't even need to be changed, and 1/2 is 2/4. And so now we have 1/4 plus 2/4 is 3/4, and 3 plus 2 is 5. And that too is in its simplest form. Adding mixed numbers, pretty easy.